and the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
Welcome to Bo!
Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the most food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. You know, snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome in to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. A little rainy outside, nonetheless. Hope you're doing well, practicing social distancing. Good to see, of course, now bars and clubs and other things can open up to 50% capacity starting, well, tomorrow. That's good news moving forward. A lot of things are getting back to normal somewhat. Looking at everything going on right now, normal is something we definitely need. But look, as we always start off our show, we have plenty to talk about today, action-packed show. Can't wait to get to it, but we want to thank our first responders and our healthcare workers at this time. Look at what you do day in and day out for us, especially when you're talking about what's happened with COVID-19. It's been highlighted. We thank you so much putting yourself out there on the front lines each and every day. Just thank you again. We can't say it enough. I think a thank you goes a long way. But like I said before, I have friends and family that are on both sides of the aspect here, and the support that they get from the community. They get from you guys out there, helping them through this time. We're starting to push through with all the coronavirus stuff. I know it's still out there, so still be safe, still use precautions, use common sense it's crazy how far that will go, but whenever you're out and about, and listen, just respect each other. I think that's an important message right now is we need to respect each other just with everything going on regardless. But listen, as well as grocery store employees, truck drivers, all the essential workers out there, no matter what you are, we appreciate you being a part of the community and helping us, look, to stay somewhat normal in this time. We talk about it all the time. If you're a restaurant that's been open this entire time doing takeout or whatever, we appreciate it. Look, grocery store employees, you've been out there as well as truck drivers. We forget about truck drivers and the importance they have in our economy. I think it's important. We went through the toilet paper shortage for a while, and look, they continued to bring it. So things, like I said, are starting to get a little bit back to normal. But you know what? First things first, Coach. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, and as usual, I suck at your message there that goes out first of the show. And it's uplifting to think about all those people out there with everything else going on. That's a bright spot in our world.
Absolutely. And, Coach, I know, look, our sponsors, they mean a lot to us. That we can bring Talk Football here to the people. Of course, maybe give you a little sideshow going on here. Talk some sports with you. With everything that's going on in the world right now, we just want to be a bright spot, and we want to just talk some sports, give you – if you're listening, we talk about it. If you're an essential worker, if you're just at home right now, maybe unfortunately you lost your job, whatever it may be, we hope that we can bring you a little bit of a bright spot today. But, Coach, our sponsors are a big part of that, and I know that you wanted to talk about them a little bit.
Well, we've got amazing sponsors, and thank goodness we can come on because of their loyalty to us in this program. We can come on and talk about something as uplifting as football each day. I think it's a big part of many of our listeners. It's a big part of their life, as it is mine, yours, as far as entertainment goes. So we certainly want to give our appreciation to them, and also to throw out a word or two. For example, about the Levin Law Firm, one of the top in the world, right here in our community. A phone call away. I've often said, people in this area, gosh, if you have any need for a lawyer, for legal advice or legal representation, how fitting it is that you have the very best right here at your doorstep. And what they've done for this community is certainly something that goes beyond the pale. We don't have time in the program to go through all that. They've done contributions and otherwise to help the community. And like Bob Tyler, Toyota, all he's done as well. He's been very active in the community, and also has some very, very competitive deals out there right now on one of the best automobiles you can buy, most reliable automobiles, Toyota. And all kinds of deals on them. I know extended way out, extended financing, and so on. So if you get a chance, now's a great time to get something and get a fine automobile at a reduced price or a great deal.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And the Levin Law Firm, you can search them at levinlaw.com, or look, 850-435-7000 is the number. You're right. Look, they are a class act there, one of the best. And when you talk about Bob Tyler, you're right, Coach. Listen, I've even been looking into it a little bit. We'll see what happens. But you could catch him at 7201 Pensacola Boulevard right there. Always, you can't miss them in Car City. Always good people there. You got to go check them out and just go talk. They'll hook you up. No matter your situation, they can definitely help you. And that's great in a time like this with all the deals going on. But, Coach, getting on, look, the football side of things. College football, of course, well, an Oklahoma coach, maybe we've heard of him, Lincoln Riley, come out about the voluntary workouts. And I thought this was interesting. I am not the biggest Lincoln Riley fan, but, push that aside here. I just thought it was kind of interesting that he came out, and we were talking about these. Look, of course, a lot of teams are returning next Monday, in fact, for voluntary workouts. Some of them are already returning, and they're testing their players, getting their physicals and things like this. A lot of athletes are on campus now. Oklahoma was one from the start. Once all this started happening, they said July 1st will return. We don't care what anybody else is going to do. We're going to return July 1st. Now, we also know with some of the things that have gone on with Oklahoma and their issues that they've been a little more vocal than others about being hesitant. But nonetheless, Lincoln Riley came out and said he is sure the temptation will be high for some coaches to push the boundaries of what's allowed. He said, sadly, in our college game, voluntary has always been a very loose term. He said the reality of the matter is there's different institutions and there's different conferences that allow you to do a different amount, or some just look the other way. It's unfortunate that that's what it's come to right now, but we have other parts of our year where that's always been an issue, and it's well known across coaches and players across the country. That's a rule that's applied very differently in different places and in different parts of the country. Coach, my question to you, this seems to me like someone in Lincoln Riley, this is a guy, now remember, has been criticized for as good as his Oklahoma teams have been. When he goes and plays these Big Ten teams, when he goes and plays the Southeastern Conference, that he doesn't fare well. He does good in the Big 12, and remember, this is an Oklahoma team that snuck into the playoff last year and got destroyed by LSU, is a nice term. Not that I think it would have mattered who would have played LSU, but regardless, this is a team that's always seemed to come up short with Lincoln Riley. I think he's a great coach. But this seems to me, Coach, like he's taking shots at the Big Ten, taking shots at the SEC, that just, in my opinion, it's because, well, he just can't seem to beat them.
I think you hit it right on the head. He's hoping that public pressure and whatever will help him with his football team. He's a good coach. I certainly admit that. He's done a good job in Oklahoma, no doubt about it. But no, this is not what coaches normally do. Don't worry about those other people. Go do what you can do. If they get a chance, they're going to do whatever they can to beat you. So plan accordingly and go get your job done. And then don't worry about what somebody else is doing.
Yeah, it's important that, I always had a coach that said if you're looking in the other direction, looking at other people, you're not taking care of yourself, and think of how much better you could be if you just focused on yourself and let everything else play itself out. And that's where I get this. Coach, you've coached at the highest level. You've played at the highest level. You understand it a lot more, obviously, than I do. But that's one thing that I've learned a lot from you is you said, especially when you talk about the NFL, much like the college game, it's in the NFL, it's every single day. Like there's pretty much no off season when you talk about getting better, because every day you take off is a day that somebody got better that day, and that's how you continue to win. And so it's interesting here. I think for Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley, I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, let's not act like they don't do the same things here. And you know what? It comes down to if they're beating these guys, I don't think nothing's said. But regardless, I'm going to move on from that. The other college story here, interesting enough, this is the reason I bring this up is because this could be something that could be the norm in college football. And let me make this very clear. I understand with the times that are right now with COVID-19, what's going on, that things are going to be a little bit different this year. But look, Coach, when you look at Arizona State punter, this is interesting just because so this young man, we remember him. He is the nephew of Matt Turk, Michael Turk. He is returned to play college football even after he declared for the draft early. He hired an agent. He worked out at the combine, but because he didn't get his pro day, he went undrafted. This is what he believes. Because he didn't get his pro day, he went undrafted at the NFL or for the NFL draft. The NCAA granted him his eligibility back, even though, remember, in NCAA, the rules here, once you declare, if you hire an agent, you're not allowed to come back. Not only did he hire an agent, he competed at the combine, and apparently this is the punter that made news for repping out 225 pounds on the bench press 25 times, but apparently at the combine he didn't do so well punting. So that just make that very clear. That's pretty important if you're going as a punter to punt, not necessarily lifting weights. But regardless, Coach, the reason I bring this up is because if he got the okay here, there's plenty of players that declared for the draft early and they didn't get their pro days due to COVID-19 that we'll probably see that they went undrafted, that we'll probably see file for this as well. But the real reason I bring this up is because, Coach, we've talked about this where some of these coaches, Harbaugh has mentioned it as well as some others, that they believe that, listen, if a guy declares for the draft and goes undrafted, he should be able to come back. Coach, I just don't – even with COVID-19 right here, I just don't think this is a good look for the NCAA right now.
They're getting deeper and deeper and deeper in trouble. I really believe that what they're doing right now is a form of appeasement, much as we're seeing throughout our country right now. But they're getting deep into a situation that is going to backfire on them. I'm certain of that. Yes, you have to, if you allow it for one, how do you justify not allowing it for someone else? And plus, as I look at it, now this is me, how dare the audacity of a punter to worry about not being drafted. I can't imagine a punter being drafted. At best, free agent.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a situation that on the surface, a lot of people will probably breeze on past that and not look at it, but there will be a lot of players that will apply for this. And remember, like I said, the reason I truly bring it up is because this is something that, look, Harbaugh and coaches like this have talked about, that he believes, Harbaugh went on a whole rant on this, of he believes that if his guys want to leave early to go try to get the draft, they can hire an agent. If they don't get drafted, they should be able to come back. And that's where this would be.
Now, listen, a lot of that, you have to understand, a lot of that is Harbaugh trying to recruit. He's in some trouble up there at Michigan. Nobody thought they thought that he would be there for life at his alma mater at Michigan and the job that he had done in the past. And he had done a good job, both at the San Diego school out there and with the 49ers. But he's in some trouble. And I think he's trying to ingratiate himself to certain recruits maybe that they're talking to, certainly for recruiting in the future, which makes him look like, oh, gosh, he's a coach that'll just go to war for the players. I would guess that's what Harbaugh's doing. That's what I see right now. I don't see anything genuine about it.
Right. Well, I agree with you. I think you're right. He is on the hot seat there. A lot of people in that Michigan alumni are not happy with the fact that he is 0-5 right now against Ohio State, and they don't care how close some games have been. You better win it. We've seen teams here down to make it, more realistic for people. Think about LSU and Alabama. There, the whole thing is you got to beat Alabama. It's simple as that. Same thing at Auburn. You got to beat Alabama. But regardless, Coach, look, on the NFL side of things here, look, the NFL informed teams today that coaching staffs will be permitted to return to team facilities, and the maximum number of personnel allowed in those facilities will be increased to 100. That's, of course, like I said, starting tomorrow. But coaches and other football staff, particularly those who may be at a higher risk category, well, if they have any health concerns, they can talk to their medical staff about precautions. But, Coach, once again, I bring this up because it's a positive sign moving forward here. And we've had Jim Haslett on the show plenty. I'm not sure if you've talked to him, in the past couple days here, just of what's going on right now with the coaching staff. I know that he said he had to go back up to Nashville, but are they still on as planned right now?
Yeah, I think so. Jim will be back in town tomorrow, and obviously I'll be seeing him. So we'll have some little updated information there. In fact, we're hopefully going to have Mike Vrabel on one day next week, maybe. So we'll get some feedback there. I think it's interesting to talk to the Tennessee people because of how they finished last year and what their goals are, what they feel is going to happen to their division in the way of competition. All those things that we have interest in, and we get straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mike Vrabel. Coach, you know how I feel about that. I'm a tremendous Vrabel fan. Was excited whenever they hired him with Tennessee, just because it's a guy that, look, you heard Haslett talk about it. The man loves football. He talks football each and every day. He lives it. He was a fantastic player, a versatile player. The guy understands it, and it's been exciting. But for a franchise that has been down in the dumps a little bit, he has rejuvenated that franchise. So you're right. It'll be good to hear from him. It'll be good to hear from Haslett as well. But, Coach, going back to, both professional and college football here in the state of Texas, and before people roll their eyes because it's the state of Texas, once again, I think this is great news moving forward, and that's what I'm trying to bring is some positivity in times like this. But, look, Governor Greg Abbott, the Texas governor there, said that now facilities, college and professional, can operate at 50% capacity when they open. Now, remember, they started off before by saying 25%. And now he said, listen, stadiums, wherever it may be, wherever the Dallas Mavericks for the NBA play, the Dallas Cowboys play, any stadium, even the Texas Rangers, college and pro stadiums, regardless, can have 50% capacity. Coach, this is getting more realistic. We're seeing, I know I'm not saying this for every state, but a lot of these states for all over the country now are talking about fans moving forward. I know that before we were starting with, are we going to have a college football season? Are we going to have an NFL season? I think that's more along the lines of barring something insane happening, that's going to happen. But now it's becoming more realistic because of all the different ideas that are going on, because of we're flattening the curve in a lot of places, that it seems that fans may be on the horizon for football.
Yeah, it does sound good. It's expected in Texas, and I would assume that there's a good chance Florida might be very close to coming out with the same proclamation here for the state of Florida. But in Texas, what a huge plus this is, especially for the colleges. JP, we've talked about the revenue stream and how dependent colleges are on those ticket sales. And then the ancillary income that comes off that, when you get people in the stands, first they got to park outside for $25 a car to park, and then they get inside and they get a hot dog for $5 and a Coca-Cola for $2 or $3. It's amazing how much money they make off concessions and then the other properties that they sell inside the stadium. It mounts up to quite a bit, especially for colleges. So and for pros too. When you say, well, it's only 15-16% of their revenue, but that's just the ticket sale. That doesn't include the like I said, parking, concessions, property, all the other, and also I would think that it enhances their sponsor money. The more people that they can put in the stadium, probably enhances their local sponsorship money. So anyway, it's a big plus, big plus for Texas.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a positive sign moving forward for everybody. But Coach, we got to go to a break. When we come back, look, we're going to talk about the Patriots' offense. Can they improve without Tom Brady? Well, the answers might surprise you a little bit, and we'll talk about some college football teams set to rise and fall this year, as well as, some receiving core rankings of our own here in the NFL. All that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
For your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts, I'm JP. Hockey legend Gordie Howe suffers from cryophobia, the extreme fear of cold and ice. That's what I call facing your fears. The grass at Wimbledon was kept 2 inches long until 1949 when an English player was bitten by a snake. And a man in Mississippi was briefly imprisoned for sorcery in 1884 after throwing a curveball at a county fair. So that means Clayton Kershaw would have been a wizard, right? That's your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts. I'm JP.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk, The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given, nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as it gets older, one of the most embarrassing things, my daughter's 3, I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Case Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. Roads are a little wet around here. Hope you're driving safe, of course. Take a little bit more time. I know, of course, with the tropical storm that's down, well, it's tropical depression now. Keep an eye on that as well to see what's going to happen. Looks like we're outside the cone, but we know living down here in Pensacola, that doesn't mean anything until it actually happens. Listen, we're talking some football with you. Hope you're having a great day, and we appreciate you joining the show with us. Coach, getting into this now, this is the New England Patriots. We talked a little bit about them. It's interesting enough because it seems that, well, Jarrett Stidham is going to be the quarterback. This is something that, going back to your commercials right here on ESPN Pensacola, Coach, you said that you believed he could be the incumbent, and I think right now, look, I think it's funny because he is. I think at this point, he is the guy. There's a lot of faith in him, and I think that we've talked about Jarrett Stidham before. This is a guy that has had, look, when he, of course, went to Baylor, a lot of people were surprised. Then he went to Auburn, was never really utilized correctly in the way that he can. I think he has a great arm. I think he's athletic enough, and he's a great mind as well, and he can really light it up. It's going to be a lot of fun, but a lot of questions are, okay, we hear people talk about, well, the Patriots are going to be have a top 5 draft pick this year. I don't see that happening. I'm sorry. With that defense, how nasty the defense is, I know they lost some guys, but they also drafted really well. This is a team that always seems to come together when everybody expects them to be down. And you know what, Coach? I think outside of the wide receiver, there's going to be a ton of pressure on that wide receiving core. But when you look at the quarterback situation, obviously losing Tom Brady, you're going to be worse when you look at that part of your team. But, Coach, when you look at the running back position, this is a running back core that I think they are. I mean, when you look at them, Sony Michel, James White, Rex Burkhead, Brandon Bolden, Damian Harris, they added J.J. Taylor as well. I believe that their running back situation is the best in the NFL. Coach, do you believe the same as me here, or is there some questions?
Well, I think this is one of the most interesting stories will be of this year. And it is right now, whether we take a look at them, you've taken a good look there, and you've had a good you've had a good feeling about this football team for a while, as I know. But let's dig into some of the so-called question marks about this team. Now, first, Stidham. People say, well, they don't really have the quarterback situation not set. It certainly was not set when they brought Tom Brady, made him the starter there. And Stidham, you have to understand, has good credentials. When you look at how you evaluate a quarterback, and it is important to go back and take a look at the pedigree. I think it's important to know that he was one of the top high school quarterbacks in the country when he came out. Could have gone to any number of schools, chose to go to Baylor. and really just did a heck of a job there at Baylor with that vertical passing game as a youngster, as a freshman. And then when all that happened, the staff was fired, so on, he was allowed to transfer, and he transferred to Auburn. Now, I know a number of scouts that I talked to when he made that transfer to Auburn, they said he's the real deal. Auburn just got a heck of a quarterback. I don't think that he was utilized properly at Auburn, but that's not what we're talking about. He has the credentials, he has the pedigree, and listen, he's got all the measurables, most of the measurables, if not all. Look at his size, his strength, his arm strength. He can make all the throws. I don't know of anybody that would tell you Gerald Stidham can't make the pro throws, because he can. And the intangibles all seem to be there. He's a very intelligent young man. He's got what I would consider to be a fair amount to good amount of football savvy. He's well liked. He's good in the locker room, as well as his work ethic is good. Now, so if that answers your quarterback situation, he's going to be coached by the best. He's going to be prepared by the best. They're going to have a great running game, outstanding running game. And I think you're going to see Belichick go back to great running game, play action passes, do what Stidham does best. Don't force him to make big mistakes and take you out of the ball game. Run the football, be extremely well coached and prepared strategically and schematically for the opponents that they're going to be playing, which is going to be a plus over what other teams are, I can assure you. And then they're going to play great defense. And I think you saw in the draft, I think what he did in the draft was increase the speed on that defense, which was already a formidable defense. And then, again, the game preparation and schematically the preparation that defense will have going into any ball game is going to give them a great advantage. Special teams are always going to be sound, very sound. Now, put all that together that I just talked about. Put it together and tell me that they're going to be out of the loop as far as winning that division. I can't see it at all. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, they're the favorites to win that division again, even without Brady.
Yeah, Coach, I agree with you. Jarrett Stidham is a guy that, of course, and I've saw the small sample size of him. I want to make this clear. We go to Nashville, our families and everything goes to Nashville, seems like every year, but we always go to the bowl game there. And, of course, a few years ago, I was there when Auburn played Purdue, and my significant other, is her entire family, big-time Auburn fans. So even though we lost in the national championship game, I have to swallow that pill a little bit and just say, yeah, Auburn, even though I was really rooting for Purdue. Didn't work out so well, but I thought it was important because it was one of the first times that we saw Jarrett Stidham. We saw Malzahn just open up the playbook and let him throw the football, and he did a fantastic job. That's where, for people that I think that question Jarrett Stidham as much, I understand. It's the guy that was drafted later on. He wasn't supposed to be the superstar, but then again, Tom Brady, nobody really expected him to ever leave. It's weird to look at him in a Tampa Bay jersey now, but what happens is Jarrett Stidham, Coach, I like him a lot like you do. I think this guy can make the throws. I think that you put him in that system with Belichick, he is dangerous. He was already dangerous athletically when you talk about the intangibles. And, Coach, I know that you put a lot of stock into the intangibles, and rightfully so. This guy checks a lot of those boxes, and I think the Patriots are going to surprise so many people this year because, once again, if you're on the Buffalo Bills train, I understand. Look, you should be happy if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, but at the same time, it's one of those things that until the Patriots are dethroned here, pump the brakes because Belichick has done a lot more with a lot less before, and that defense, once again, is going to be really good. We saw him draft to be able to beat teams like Baltimore, to be able to beat teams like Kansas City, these teams that gave them trouble last year with the mobile-style quarterbacks. This man is the greatest coach around. I mean, he is the real deal. I think that nobody can question that. So with the Patriots, I think it's going to be a surprising year for people. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm trying to say here. What I am saying is
Right.
let's not kick them out yet. Let's not kick them out of the party. But Coach,
right, they've got a very good chance. I think they'll win that division, and that puts them in the hunt. So that is what we'd be looking at, and with that, that'd be a heck of a year for them. Now, keep in mind, they're not going to ask Stidham to go win the ball game for them. That's not what they're going to ask him to do. They're just going to ask him to do what he does best and what's the best and what they relay to him and teach him during the week. Handle that one play at a time, and we'll handle everything else. So that's going to be their approach, and I think it's going to be successful.
I agree. And just to reiterate on some of these things, the offensive line issues, of course, they lost Ted Karras, Marshall Newhouse, James Ferentz. We know Skarnecki is gone. The coach there, that's a big blow. But you've got a lot of returners coming back. The additions of David Andrews coming off injured reserve, I think, is tremendous for them at the center position. Look, Yadni Kajust is back. They had a lot of guys here. And once again, I say with the running back position, we saw, look, at the tight end position, he drafted a couple guys, a couple tight ends here. I think that's very important because these are offensive-style tight ends. And what I mean by that is guys that can go out and catch the football. Not necessarily your Matt Lacassi's, Ryan Izzo-type guys that are fantastic blockers. These are guys that offensively will change the game. And I think you're looking at Belichick building a team the old way that he has done before and had so much success. So I just think with the wide receivers, there's a lot of question marks. But you know what? You're right, Coach. I think that's important. Stidham is not going to be asked to win the football game, much like Tom Brady was in a lot of ways. It's a different style team. But nonetheless, Coach, speaking on some teams here, look, there's some college football teams that we talk about. And when we talk about these teams, I want to make this clear. If we say this team is on the rise, I don't talk about the college football playoff. I'm saying from where they were. Coach, the first team I want to bring up real quick is the Miami Hurricanes. With everything going on right now, it seems that this has been a bit of a disappointment. Manny Diaz. Look, things are somewhat going great. Now, they got some great transfers. De'Aaron King at the quarterback position, which I think the quarterback position has been very subpar for Miami. And we know that you need a quarterback. Quarterback can take you a long way. But, Coach, when you look at the Miami Hurricanes and everything going on right now with Manny Diaz, do you think they're on the rise?
I would say that they're probably trending up to a certain extent because I don't think they can trend any other way. But not to the extent that they're going to be in the hunt with Clemson and even Florida State. I really see those teams being bad, and North Carolina now. But Miami's going to trending up some. We'll see how far they go. I don't have a lot of confidence in them, to be honest with you.
Right. Well, I agree. I think until it happens, it's one of those that we've said it before. They're supposed to be good, but we'll see. I think it's they've done some good things, but they got to put it together on the field. Coach, this is a team we saw Matt Rule last year that surprised a lot of people that was really one game away from being in the college football playoff in the Baylor Bears. Now Dave Aranda's there. Dave Aranda did a great job at LSU, but the question is, can this Baylor Bears team get back to where they were last year? Coach, right now I'm going to put the Baylor Bears as a team that's tumbling, not necessarily rising, just because I think Matt Rule did that good of a job over there in Waco.
Yeah, I would agree with you totally. And keep in mind now, Matt Rule and that Baylor football team was successful primarily because of their explosive offense. And Miranda going over there as a defensive coordinator, I think it's not very likely that he's going to employ the same type explosiveness as an offensive football team. I think they'll spend more time on the defense and helping that defense. So I agree with you. I think they fall significantly this year.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. And a team that we talked about a little bit the other day in Stanford. Now we know what Stanford used to be: put them in a phone booth and let's run it right at them. They've opened up a little bit more. Now KJ Costello transferred out after being injured. They've got a guy that you talked about the other day to look out for, the former 5-star athlete or quarterback in Davis Mills, who was the top pro-style quarterback back when he was in high school. Now I think this is important because we've seen, look, David Shaw has done a fantastic job. It's always a little bit different when you got a coach at Stanford than other universities as well. Last year, of course, they had no favors when they had all the injuries piling up, playing USC, even UCF, Oregon, games like that. Look, this year's schedule, a lot more favorable. But, Coach, I think that, the David Shaw, I have enough faith in him and what he does at that university that I think Stanford is on the rise.
Oh, I do too, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think he does an outstanding job, and everything that I've found out about this quarterback that they have. Now, keep in mind, Stanford also they do one heck of a job with the passing game, and some of that is by necessity, much like the old Florida State teams back in the '60s. It's tough for Stanford to have the same type talent in the trenches and in certain positions as would Southern Cal, some of the other teams they have to play, Notre Dame and so on. But if you can throw the football, you don't have to line up and knock somebody off the ball continually the whole ball game. You can be much more sophisticated in your offensive approach and make the big plays. And if people aren't prepared for it properly, you can really, really sting them. You can hurt them badly. And I think that's a Stanford MO. And now they have what many consider to be the top high school quarterback in the country there. And I think they're going to do a heck of a job. I think certainly they'll be on the upswing there.
Yeah, I think it says a lot that Davis Mills hung around for these years. I think he was biding his time, waiting for his opportunity, and I think that's where it's scary when you got a guy that's waiting like that and didn't transfer out. He believes a lot in that program, and Davis Mills is a very talented quarterback. If you haven't seen him, definitely check him out. But Coach, this is a team that I want to get. I'm not going to say what I don't know what to think of this team. I think if you count what happened last year with the national title and LSU, of course, then you would assume probably they would tumble a little bit. But I don't know. This is are they going to have the year they had last year? Probably not, obviously. I think crazier things have happened, but they lost so much talent there. But to say this team is going to tumble, I don't believe that. I think they're still going to be relevant. But, Coach, the LSU Tigers, I think Ed O, what he's been able to do, to be able to get the coaching staff that left him, to bring in Bo Pelini after Dave Aranda left and get guys that nobody thought, be able to hold on to transfers, to get – just the talent that they still have on that team here. I think LSU is – I'm not going to say they're going to tumble, but, Coach, this is a team that I still think is very relevant.
Well, I would agree with you, but you got to remember now, you lose 16 players off a team. How in the world can you account for that much attrition? That is – a lot of teams have to deal with attrition, but I can't remember – a team having to deal with 16 losses. Plus, they lost the quarterback that has just had the greatest season ever in the history of college football. That's saying something. They lost a couple of other skilled people to boot offensively, but most importantly, other than the quarterback, they lost the architect of that offense that was prolific, to say the least. And he moves on to Carolina, Brady, as a coach, which is going to be somewhat of a loss as well. And then they lost the defensive coordinator, and they bring in. So you're going to have a change. I'm not sure the extent of the change, but there will be some change, obviously, defensively. And then offensively, I hope that Ensminger, and I think that they will adopt the same type approach, but whether they can handle it schematically, JP, there's a big difference in knowing what you have by association and then having the in-depth knowledge and how to apply that from a schematic standpoint each week. There's a big difference there. So I'm not sure that they haven't lost something there. It's going to be difficult for me to believe that they're going to duplicate in any way what they did last year. I think they're going to suffer some, but they've got so much talent. They're still going to be a tough team to beat. They'll be I don't say they'll be in the hunt for the national championship, but they'll be a tough opponent in the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is a team that, and I know LSU fans earmuffs on this if you don't like this, but I think that if this team, with everything they went through, would get 9 wins, if they get 10 wins, I think it's a really good season just because of like what you mentioned, Coach, everything that they went through. But we'll see, because you know what? It may be a better season. Who knows? But like you said, to duplicate what they did last year, this is something that has never really been done before in college football of just the dominance. To replace a guy like Joe Burrow. I know Miles Brennan, everybody says he's a great quarterback. And you know what? I'm sure he is. Absolutely sure he is. I'm not going to compare him to Joe Burrow because that was a once-in-a-lifetime style quarterback with what he was able to accomplish. But we'll see. I think for LSU, one thing we know is much like a lot of these other teams in Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State, they revamp, and I think Ed O has done a great job to be able to try to put the Band-Aid and get some healing going over there with everything that they lost, because it's insane the amount of talent that they lost, not only from the player aspect, from the coaching aspect as well. But we'll see. But, Coach, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the coaches in the NFL that may be on the hot seats, as well as our receiving corps rankings as well. You're want to tune in for that right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Why go to the pharmacy when the pharmacy can come to you? Gulf Breeze Apothecary offers free delivery to customers in Gulf Breeze and Pensacola Beach. Got questions with medications or COVID-19? Just give them a call and they'll be glad to help you. If you need a mask or hand sanitizer, they have that too. Along with free delivery, they have a drive-thru and a mobile app for easy refills. Gulf Breeze Apothecary, right across from Andrews Institute.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you're having a great day. Staying safe out there, of course, with things opening up. Seems tomorrow more things are opening up. The bars and things like that will open up. Great for a lot of our sponsors, a lot of our businesses around here in our community. Great to see everything opening up and great to seeing our community doing such a great job as well. But, Coach, we're talking some more football here. Look, I'm going to give you my opinion, Coach, of course, and then I want to get your opinion. Your opinion, of course, holds a lot more weight, knowing a lot more as well. But the coaches on the hot seats here, I want to start with a coach that I think a lot of people look upon as wondering why he's still there. This is a guy, of course, that came from Bill Belichick in that coaching tree over there. But Matt Patricia, he's, 9-22-1 with the Lions. And, look, a lot of people can say, I will admit this. Matt Stafford's injury does not help Detroit at all. But, Coach, when you look at this, the defensive side of the ball, not good. I think it's not a good look for them. He was brought over because the offense was pretty good already. They wanted a change on defense, and I don't know if we've seen that yet. But I will say this for Matt Patricia, in his defense, that when you lose a quarterback, Coach, we've talked about it. If your offense is miserable, if your offense is abysmal, is what I really mean to say, your defense struggles. And this is a team that in Detroit that hasn't had a lot of success in quite some time. Coach, is Matt Patricia on the hot seat in your opinion?
Yeah, I think he is, just based on what we know is pretty much common knowledge around the sports world. He's a different type guy. I don't know Patricia at all, but I can tell you with his background, he's one of the young guys that that they brought on at New England. First, I think in just charting and book, he was like a pencil pusher, if you will, for Belichick and the organization. And he moved from one thing to the next to the next. Very bright, extremely bright guy. Now, whether that equates to competency as a coach, I think other things have to be involved. Then you got to also factor this in, JP. What was he under Belichick at New England? He was a defensive coordinator. Who is really the defensive coordinator at New England? It's Bill Belichick.
It's very true. So,
as far as design for the week and all those types of things, while Patricia may have given the credit to Patricia, I think he is pretty well known that basically all that comes from Belichick.
Yeah, Coach, that's a great point that I hadn't thought about in a while. Belichick does run that defense. We know that. That's the mastermind behind it. For Matt Patricia, we'll see. I think if he has a down year this year, I think he's gone at this point. But let's not act like he's the reason the Detroit Lions are not good. It's been quite some time since this team has had some success. And having a quarterback in Matt Stafford, which I love Matt Stafford a ton. I think this guy, if he was to go other places, he could have a ton of success because that offense is fantastic around him. But anyway, moving on. Look, Coach Doug Marrone with the Jaguars. The Jags fans, I have plenty of Jags fans that are friends. They don't necessarily come out and tell you they're Jags fans until later on just because of the problems that they've had. We forget that this team was 10. They were 10-6 in 2017. Ever since that 2017 AFC Championship game, little has gone right for them. They're 11-21 since that. Coach Doug Marrone, we thought he was going to be let go last year. Shad Khan decides to bring him back. Now, we've seen a lot of turmoil in that locker room. We've seen a lot of problems. I think Doug Marrone has tried to help get rid of some of those people. I think some of the people, of course, have left already. But, Coach, Doug Marrone, do you have a lot of belief in him over there in Jacksonville?
I think he's really, really on the hot seat and could go early. I really don't see much, unless he does one heck of a job, but I doubt that that's going to happen just because of the talent drain and the unknowns that they've allowed to permeate that football team over there. Not a lot of discipline, not a very stable franchise right now, so, no, I don't give him much of a shot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that they need something new there in Jacksonville to rejuvenate that franchise. They've got some good young players, but they need some guidance right now. They've starting to get rid of some of their problems, but nonetheless, Coach, the final coach here before we go to break, Dan Quinn with the Falcons. This is a guy that we thought was going to be let go, of course, after starting 1-7 going into the bye week last season, and they brought him back. And listen, the team went 6-2 after that. The team really bought into it. They believe in him. A lot of these players have come out in support of Dan Quinn. Coach, we know the talent they have offensively. We know that last year defensively was atrocious. They've tried to build it back up. Coach, my opinion, this could go either way here. But Dan Quinn, what's your thoughts on Dan Quinn?
Well, let's look at what you're right. They have great offensive talent. They have had for a number of years, and I'm not sure they haven't let that window close now. But he was supposed to. He's defensive coordinator when he came in, and he was supposed to give him that Seattle-type defense that would allow him to have be true competitors. Now, he did a good job overall the year they went to the Super Bowl, and in fact, he should have won the Super Bowl. But I'm not going to go there right now. Just to look at it overall, I think he's got to improve. He's got to improve that defense. I'm not sure how they're going to do it unless they had a better draft than I thought they had. I thought their draft was terrible. So I don't know where they're going to get the help. I think they're going to have to do a heck of a job coaching. But I think he's going to be in trouble if they don't really, really come to scratch defensively.
Yeah, I agree. I think offensively we've known for a while the talent they have with Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, all those guys over there. Remember they lost Austin Hooper. But you're right. I think the draft is interesting enough for them. But we'll see what happens. But, Coach, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the receiving corps in the NFL, and we'll talk about a team that maybe should be on your radar for one of the best receiving corps in the NFL. All that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, Dilly Dilly! Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you're doing well, staying safe out there. I know the roads are probably a little bit wet. Looks like we got some more sunshine on the way, but nonetheless, we're talking some football with you. Coach, we talked about the receiving corps a little bit, and there's some lists, of course, that we've named off, but I want to get into this of our top team and then a team that we should look out for that it has a lot better, especially after the draft and this offseason, that the receiving corps looks pretty darn good moving into this year. Does it go without saying the Tampa Bay Bucks are number one on your list?
Yeah, I think you'd have to say overall they're probably number one. based on what's happened in the past. So, everything else, there are a lot of futures here and potential, I hate that word, but that we're looking at that could be very significant. But based on what's happened in the past and their experience, I think you'd have to put it number one.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you talk about Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard, Gronkowski's out there now, Cameron Brate's there, and even I know that this is a running back, but the running back situation with Ronald Jones and those guys I think is going to be perfect. Look, we just for people out there that were wondering about Devonta Freeman, Bruce Arians came out today and said his price tag was a little too high, so it doesn't look like he'll be joining Tom Brady and crew over there. But nonetheless, I think that you give Tom Brady these kind of weapons. He hadn't had these kind of weapons in quite some time. So it goes just about without saying with Tampa Bay. Coach, I'm going to give my quick team here to look out for is, look, I've loved this from the beginning. I'm a big fan of this quarterback as well, and Drew Lock. But I think the Denver Broncos, man, they stepped up this offseason. They did a fantastic job. Look, they already had Noah Fant, the tight end they drafted last year. The guy is the real deal. They went out and got the big tight end, pass-catching tight end out of Missouri as well. I'm not even going to try to say his name just for the sake of everybody here. But they had Cortland Sutton, who was great. But they went out and got Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Tyree Cleveland out of Florida. Coach, when you look at the offensive line problems they fixed as well, but I know we're talking about wide receiver core. I think they hit it out of the park this offseason.
Well, I do too. I think they did a heck of a job. So, some of that is looking at, rather than past experience, looking at what could happen in the future based on talent. But, you got to think that they really had a strong draft. And I'll tell you, another team better keep your eye on because they could sneak up on some people from a receiver standpoint, and that's a combination, and that's the Colts. They got T.Y. Hilton there, who's an old-time pro, but still has some mileage left. I think is an excellent catch, excellent route runner, and if he can get some of the pressure off him, which I think they've addressed, and with Campbell, now should be able to go this year. They're going to have maybe the fastest guy in the NFL as a receiver, and he's going to take the top off any defense. He's going to force him back there, which is going to give T.Y. Hilton more room inside, as well as their tight end situation is very, very strong. They have a total of 3 or 4 receivers they can play with. So I like the Colts too. I think they've really helped themselves.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. You talk about Paris Campbell. We don't even know how good this young man's going to be with the injuries that he's faced. And I tell you, and Jack Doyle, the tight end there, we know how good of a pass catcher he is. Like you mentioned, Michael Pittman Jr., the guy can go up and get the football. You put him on the other side of T.Y. Hilton, and Phillip Rivers is there now, a guy that can get the ball down the field. This is going to be a fun team to watch. So, Coach, that sound means it's time for us to go. As usual, we didn't get a chance to get to everything, but you know what? We'll give it another shot tomorrow, but it's been a pleasure.
You bet. Sandy, I look forward to tomorrow.
Absolutely, Coach. Appreciate it. And we appreciate our listeners tuning in today as well. Listen, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM, Channel 80, and ESPN News. I'm Jason Fitz. Some headlines you need to know. The NFL informed teams on Thursday that coaching staffs will be permitted to return to team facilities. The maximum number of personnel allowed in those facilities will be increased to 100. That begins on Friday. Quote, as has been emphasized in previous advice on reopening facilities, this may occur only if your club has otherwise received necessary permission from state and local governments to reopen its facility. That's according to a memo sent to teams that was obtained by ESPN. Quote, coaches and other football staff, particularly those who may be in a higher risk category or who have health concerns, are expected to speak with the club medical staff or personal physician about any special precautions. So they are going to continue to keep all eyes on how to keep everybody safe. But starting Friday, they're going to let people back in the building. Now, that's not the case for Indianapolis. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is going to run the Brickyard 400 without any fans. So they'll host the IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader on July 4th. Throughout that weekend without fans. Track officials had been optimistic IMS could be the first major sporting venue to have fans back in the stands this summer. Instead, the stands will be empty, much like the rest of the track, since major racing resumed in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. They announced the decision to run 3 races, the IndyCar GMR Grand Prix and the Xfinity Series Pennzoil 150 on July 4th, and the NASCAR Cup Series Brickyard 400 on July 5th, after consulting with local and state officials. Those will all be done without anybody in the stands. And lastly, in the news front, a little bit of controversy coming out of Florida State for their football program at this point, after Mike Norvell, the new Florida State Seminoles coach, said in an interview with The Athletic that he, quote, had a lot of open communication and that he went back and forth individually with every player this weekend. Well, that was what Coach Norvell said. However, that's not corroborated at this point by Florida State players. Florida State star defensive lineman Marvin Wilson disputed those claims and, as a matter of fact, went out to Twitter to say, hey, man, this did not happen. We got a generated text that was sent to everybody. There was no one-on-one talk between us and Coach. This is a lie, and me and my teammates as a whole are outraged, and we will not be working out until further notice. So it's a rocky moment here for Mike Norvell with the Florida State Seminoles. We'll see how that plays moving forward for the team as they navigate that controversy. First Take, Your Take, ESPN Radio. I'm Jason Fitz. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. Got a bunch of guests today that join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you guys can get in on the conversation too. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. We've been talking a lot about how the Saints should handle the Drew Brees situation. What's next for Drew Brees? What's next for his teammates? What we're all sort of going to be watching for and expecting next after Drew Brees' statements that sort of caught everybody yesterday, and then his apology today for those statements. We'll get back to some of that conversation, but we're going to get to some Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, and it comes in the form of the 22-team plan that the NBA has announced, I should say, with their playoff. The question is, do teams left out of the 22-team plan have a right to be upset? Stephen A. debated that with Kendrick Perkins today on First Take.
I don't give a damn, not even a little bit. You had 80% of the regular season to make sure you were relevant enough for your feelings to matter. Now, understand you didn't anticipate this was going to happen, but I ask a very rhetorical question here, Kendrick Perkins, Max Kellerman, and of course you, the lovely Laura Rutledge. Let me ask y'all this question. When I'm looking at the Washington Wizards, right, 24-40. I'm looking at the Charlotte Hornets, no disrespect, MJ, 23-42. I'm looking at Chicago Bulls, 22-43. The New York Knicks, your New York Knicks, Max. Obviously, I'm joking. I'm being facetious there. They're 21-45. The Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks, Cleveland Cavaliers. All even worse. I'm supposed to feel sorry for them? Were you not planning on going home? Are you going to sit here with a straight face and say that in mid-March you had not already made your vacation arrangements beginning in April? Of course you did. It was probably down to Disney World, for crying out loud. That's probably why you upset. You was planning on going to Disney World, but now you can't because other real NBA teams that's going to be in the postseason gonna be there. Here's the reality, y'all, if we being straight up. I don't want to hear all of this. I understand. I have no problem with a play-in tournament. Portland, Sacramento, San Antonio, Phoenix, I get it. You want to throw in the Washington Wizards, who's 5.5 games out of the 8th seed at 24-40. John Wall ain't really ready yet, even though he says he's 100%. We know he's been out a year and a half, so he wouldn't be playing. He coming back next season. Y'all want to go that route? Fine. But I don't want to hear about 8 or 9 teams. You were going home anyway. So let's stop it. Let's stop this all the kumbaya and all this stuff. Coach Pierce, Lloyd Pierce, promising guy. I really, really like him. He's exceptional with player development. He's been an advocate since George Floyd's passing in terms of getting the NBA coaches together, as the great Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, pointed out. I appreciate all of that. But that don't have anything to do with whether or not your team deserves to be playing right now. They don't. Y'all had 80% of the season. Some of y'all weren't good enough. Go home and get ready for next year. Very simple to me.
Listen, yes, they should be upset. Yes, they should be upset. Yes, they should be pissed off. But I tell you this, they should be pissed off at Adam Silver and the NBA. They shouldn't be mad at Chris Paul, Michelle Roberts, and the Players Association. You know who they should be mad at? Them damn selves for taking the season for granted and not winning games. It's hard to win in the NBA. So you look at a team like the Memphis Grizzlies, who have been playing winning and inspiring basketball since day one. They deserve to be there. To those other guys, hey, I feel sorry for your loss. You didn't win. You didn't take it more seriously. So now it's like me sending my kids upstairs for punishment to go in their rooms and tell them, hey, go think about what you just done. Now the NBA teams that are not at Disney, they have more than enough time to think about, hey, I didn't win. I didn't develop a winning culture. Hey, what do I need to do? And if they care, they should be pissed off. They should be pissed off at themselves, and they should watch these playoffs and say, you know what? Next year we got to get back in. But I'm not going for that. Look, you should have took the regular season more seriously because it's so hard to win in the NBA. And when you have an aspiring team like the Memphis Grizzlies, a young team like the New Orleans Pelicans with a young star in Zion who was playing, they were playing inspired basketball. No, those teams deserve to be there. They deserve to be there. It's a earned privilege to be in the playoffs and be in the playoff race in the NBA, and those other teams haven't earned that right.
That's some Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart. Look, to me, this was clear, and I said it before, say it again. If the NBA wanted to do the right thing for the teams that had earned the privilege, they would just give us the top 16. I know that there were still regular season games to play, but to try and hide this as anything other than what it is, which is a desperate attempt to somehow shove Zion Williamson into the playoffs somehow, some way. That's what this is. But in the meantime, how does that not belittle what John Morant did with the Grizzlies? He got them into playoff contention. Now, I understand that if they played the rest of the regular season games, that the Grizzlies had some tougher opponents left ahead of them, and maybe that road wouldn't have been easy. But the majority of the season was played. If they really cared about it, they could give us the 16 team if they wanted to. They're just using this as an opportunity to try something fun, try something funky, and do something a little different. Sure, that's fine. It's going to be so incredible to have NBA basketball. We won't care what it looks like. We won't care about who's left out. We're just going to be desperate to watch basketball. So I'm in for every ounce of what that looks like. But realistically, if they wanted to be fair, and as one of my buddies always says, a fair is, a place where a pig gets a ribbon. It's not life. I understand that. If they wanted to be fair, then they could have just gone 16 to me and left everything else out. Outside from that, they're doing something different. They're doing something imaginative, and they're doing something that will be interesting. The most interesting part of this, though, has nothing to do with the playoff. Has everything to do with what it means to next season. That's what I can't get out of my head. I mean, as Woj joined us yesterday, Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN NBA insider, and when he talked about the schedule change and pushing back the start of next regular season, I sort of flippantly asked him at the time if that was something that he thought that they'd be looking at as a permanent solution. And Woj, without hesitation, said yes. And that to me is the most incredible part about this. I don't care about 16 teams. I don't care about 22 teams. What I care about is what it means for the future of the NBA calendar. Because while everybody's sort of over here looking at the playoffs, like pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, they're shifting the entire way the NBA is being played. And if that means that we are, in fact, going to get meaningful NBA games in the summer, that puts all the more pressure on Major League Baseball to figure out what the hell they're doing right now. Because if owners and players continue to battle about money and we don't get a Major League Baseball season next summer, when Major League Baseball would have their only opportunity to catch up because there's no other sports, they won't have that opportunity. The NBA is going to be ruling that conversation as they give us basketball that's going to be leading up to and then including the playoffs. So all of a sudden, if I'm Major League Baseball, what I realize out of the announcement of the new plan is that the NBA's coming for me. They're coming for me hard, and I can't afford any loss in this situation. Major League Baseball is going to lose in the court of public opinion. That's already happening. It's going to continue to happen as the owners try and blame the players and the players try and blame the owners. We're all going to sit there at some point, throw our hands up and say, I don't care. You look like a bunch of petulant children not willing to play baseball in a time when it's important to America. That's the way the court of public opinion is going to take this, right or wrong, right? So now when you have that animosity that has been born towards the sport based on what they decide or decide not to do at this point, when that animosity is born, all of a sudden fans are going to be looking around saying, well, I don't want to support baseball. I don't want to invest in baseball. Well, you know what? It's pretty fun in the middle of summer to go into an arena, especially if you're in a hot place. You go into a nice, cool arena, watch an NBA playoff game, right? It's going to be pretty fun in the summer to go watch end of the regular season games that mean more because everybody's trying to figure out what their playoff seeding is going to be. This is a huge win for the NBA. The 16 teams, 22 teams, this playoff is going to be a fun short-term win for the NBA. But long-term, the discussion is going to be about how COVID-19 coronavirus created a new calendar for the NBA. And I believe that new calendar